Hey, hey. So let's see. It's 6:48. Oh, hello. Greetings. Marble and rhinestone. The marble gets really cold. Look at that. Amazing. Cheers. So I'm wearing a pork pie hat. That's what these are called. Pork pie hat. And I've got a pork pie hat story, and it's a little complicated. So I'm going to see how we get this in. It may be like the story and then an epilogue. I don't know, but we're going to try and get it in. In 1976 or so, Charles Mingus gave a concert in Mexico City. And it was amazing because he's a bass player. For those of you who are not jazz aficionados, Charles Mingus is one of the most astounding bass players ever. And he worked with a lot of groups and ended up having his own groups and cut a number of albums and made his place in history. And one of the things he did in that concert was they played a piece. It was a I believe it was a quartet. It was bass and piano and drums and a horn. So I think it was a quartet. And they played what was total chaos. They had played some of their numbers, which were more conventional, and then they played this completely chaotic thing. And then they went off and they took a break and said they'd be back. When they came back, they were each carrying 10 feet of sheet music in sheets that were all not rolled up, but laid out, and they all came on with their sheet music. And he said, now I realize that you all just listened to this and thought it was chaos. And we're going to do it again, note for note. So if anybody happened to record it again. And they put that sheet music up and they played it again. And it was like, that's crazy. Okay. So I knew Charles Mingus, not intimately by any means, but I did know him. And we talked a little bit after the concert and the next day. And he was a very difficult guy. He had a lot of very strange mental issues and could get extremely violent unexpectedly. All right, so that's your setup. Now we're going to now go to around the year 2000. So we're jumping from 1975 or 6, I think it was around 6, to the year 2000. I was making, and he had died sometime in the 1990s. I was making a short animated movie, and there's an album that Charles made called A-Hum, A-H-U-M. And it's an amazing album. It's more conventional, but it has incredible pieces on it. And there were two pieces that I wanted to use in my animation. One of them was called Goodbye Pork Pie Hat. And the other was called Fables of Falbus. Now, in order to use them, I had to get both song rights and recording rights. Song rights are whoever holds the rights of the songwriter, and recording rights is whoever holds the rights of the recording artist for the recordings. So I had to do my research, and Charles was long dead. So the recording rights were held by Sony Music. So I contacted Sony and I got in touch with the woman who was in charge of that division. And she was really nice. And she just said, look, you're going to have to deal with Susan. And Susan is the surviving widow of Charles. And she said, whatever Susan agrees to, we'll match. And I went, oh, okay, no problem. But she didn't tell me a lot about Susan. And I had to deal with Susan. I'm not going to get into this, but it took an unbelievable amount of time and hassle. And I even went to a club over on Broadway, Lafayette, where they had the Fez, which was a restaurant club on the second level. The Charles Mingus big band had a gig there. The place was called the Fez, and they had the whole band played there every certain night of the week, and Susan was always in attendance. And I even went over and I talked to her, but it took forever. Okay, I got the rights. I was so excited that I got the rights to both Goodbye Porkpie Hat and Fables of Falbus. I went down to Delancey Street to an old world hat store, and I asked the guy, do you have any pork pie hats? And he said, well, senor, I don't sell a pork pie hat to just anybody. You have to look right or I won't sell it to you. I said, well, let's try it out. He brought out a pork pie hat and he put it on my head with the right size. And he said, oh, terrific, perfect. And I bought the pork pie hat. So I'm going to stop right there because there's an epilogue, but this is a great place to stop.